Hello. In this demo, we will show how YellowDog can be used to run a quantitative finance workload. This application you can see here is a financial simulation and is typical of how a modern quantitative research team would use YellowDog to run a set of simulations. These kinds of large-scale simulations are very common in the world of quantitative finance. Now, the application you can see is being used for demo purposes. The real action will be happening under the hood, where YellowDog will orchestrate the right amount of compute to run the workload. Here's an example of how that looks when YellowDog is running. In particular, it's really important to note that YellowDog can provision the level of compute needed to run entirely on spot instances. This means the platform is automatically delivering the maximum level of scale for the most cost-efficient compute. Its advanced orchestration also manages spot availability, meaning it can dynamically provision new spot instances in real time if an instance suddenly becomes unavailable. Together with that, the YellowDog platform can manage the workload to maximize utilization. This makes YellowDog a highly cost-efficient workload management platform. So, this simulation will be running about 800 separate tasks on a workload orchestration platform. The exact number isn't important, since YellowDog will dynamically scale to handle them. It's able to achieve very high rates of data throughput, around 40,000 tasks per second. It automatically provisions the level of compute needed to get whatever size of workload completed in the fastest possible time. So let's select the kind of compute we want and send this workload to YellowDog. For this example, we'll use compute available across multiple clouds. But notice the platform can also be selective and use compute from a single cloud or region if that makes sense for the customer. As you see, YellowDog's now starting instances across a number of regions. So let's go to YellowDog and see how that work flows through. Our workload has been submitted to YellowDog as a work requirement. All those simulation operations have turned into tasks that need to run. They're currently waiting for workers to be available to run them. YellowDog uses this information to figure out how many workers it needs. So let's take a look at worker availability. This is our only pool of workers, and it currently has 77 available. But you can see that the system has calculated that it needs more nodes, that's instances supplying workers, in order to run all those tasks, and it's currently scaling up to meet that need. In order to do that, it's running what we call a compute requirement that provisions the required number of instances from cloud providers. Let's have a quick look at that compute requirement to see how that provisioning is going. Now, without leaving the main worker screen, we can see this sidebar that shows that the requirement is successfully provisioning instances. There have been problems getting instances from some regions, but YellowDog has automatically responded to this by increasing the number it's provisioning elsewhere. So we should see more worker processes coming in line in just a second. With these worker processes starting up, YellowDog will now automatically assign tasks to these nodes for the workers to run. We should be able to see that back in our work requirement. Looking at this graphical summary of task statuses, you can see that the majority of tasks have now been not only assigned to a worker, but many of them have been completed. This means that if we now look back at our financial situation, we should be able to see results coming in. Yep, we can see that information coming back from YellowDog to start giving us a picture of stock performance. Now our workload is completed and we don't want to hang on to those instances any longer than we want to. So let's see how YellowDog reacts to that. By default, it should start deprovisioning automatically when it sees there's no more work to be done. There, this graph shows that it's already scaling down. You can see that it's stopping workers and deregistering the nodes they're running on. So soon this will be done. And there we go, it's done. So what you've seen here is how YellowDog provisioned a large number of spot instances and managed the workload with extremely high compute utilization. And then, once the workload had completed and that compute was no longer needed, the platform automatically shut it down, meaning no wasted spend. Throughout the whole run, YellowDog orchestrated the provisioning to bring up the optimal number of instances to maximize performance. And if any of those spot instances had been preempted, the platform would have dynamically brought up new spot instances and managed the available work to make sure the task still successfully completed. In summary, we've demonstrated a highly dynamic workload management capability that's ideal for high-scale environments. especially where compute infrastructure needs to be provisioned easily, without friction, and with maximum utilization. Thank you for watching this demo. If you need to know anything more, please check out our website at YellowDog.ai.